Welcome to episode 39 of Gary's Graveyard Gramblings. And I'm in the neighbouring village of Benenden today, in that lovely moss-covered and lichen-covered graveyard, which is very beautiful. It's also very windy and very cold. So I wish to point out to you, first of all, that the wind is not coming from me, it is external. And secondly, I've now probably lost the use of my hand during the filming process of this. So have pity on my frostbite, because it is bloody cold. As you know, I do these least watched video blogs in one take. It's very important to me that I don't edit it. So it might be crap, but at least I do it in one train of thought, so to speak. Which is kind of important because I don't have the best memory. That might seem a bit strange for an actor. And yet, I think it's probably more common than people might think. Way back in 1973, while I was in my secondary school, I played Fagin in the school production of Oliver, and it gave me horrendous nightmares because I could not remember the detailed wording of the song reviewing the situation, which is quite difficult and quite fast. Well, you know the song. And the director, the teacher who directed it, in her exasperation, decided that I was so bad at remembering the words of this that as the front tabs were closed because there was a scene change going on behind me while I was going up and down doing this song, that she'd have somebody walk behind me, behind the curtains, reading me the words so that I could hear what was coming up and I wouldn't dry. Unfortunately, I think somebody must have put a table or something behind one half of it, because all of a sudden, while I was going up and down, I couldn't hear what was coming from behind me anymore. And so I decided to do a bit of an on-the-spot dance and a few twiddly-diddly-doos, and I managed to finish the song, God knows how, but I did manage to finish it. And I had precedent in this as well, because in my infant school, I was cast as an ugly sister in the St. Luke's Training School for Criminals Christmas pantomime, Cinderella. And even though I was only I must have been only 5 years old, I had decided that my one line, "and one for me," when Prince Charming brings on the invitations to the ball, wasn't enough. So I not only learnt that line, but I learned everybody else's as well. And the teacher had to go to my poor mother and say to her, Gary he's very good, but I'm afraid, could you say to him that he doesn't actually have to say everybody else's lines as well? He only needs to say his own line. There was no danger of that in reviewing the situation, because I couldn't even remember my own lines, let alone anybody else's. And it is bloody difficult. Many years later, I was on tour with the Royal Court and doing a play called Not in Norwich, where I played a rough bit of stuff. My stock in trade of the time was to play roughos. And I struggled with that also, with learning great long solo sections. I did it, but I struggled. Some things stick, some things just don't. Funnily enough, not long after that, I decided that it was hard getting acting jobs at the time, seeing as Margaret Thatcher had cut everybody's grants. So I decided, I need to do something about this, do something positive. So I decided to learn Welsh. Why wouldn't you? Because there was, at the time, and it's still going, I think, a Welsh soap opera on BBC One called Pobl y Cwm, or People of the Valley. And I thought, well, look, if I learn Welsh, there can't be that many people that speak Welsh. Oh, sorry, Wales. So I know I'll learn it. So I bought this Linguaphone language course on records, these sort of little 7-inch single records, and therefore decided to become Welsh. There were 2 problems with this. The first was that the story that was the basis behind the Welsh language course was a family coming back from Patagonia in Argentina to live in Wales. Did you know there was a big Welsh community in Patagonia? Hey? Well, you do now. And therefore, a lot of the expressions and phrases in there were to do with Patagonia, which is very odd. And therefore, I found myself learning all this stuff. But because the second problem, because I couldn't find anybody else to speak it with, all I ended up doing was learning the Linguaphone Welsh course. Now, that didn't get me a part in Pobl y Cwm, and it didn't do me any good with regard to my Welsh. But now here is the rub. I can remember, even now, some of those tracts of Welsh. Now, wouldn't you have thought for someone that struggles with memory that perhaps that wouldn't be the case? So bizarre things. So if you're Welsh and you ever meet me, I should probably respond with a Welsh phrase about this family. I'm stalling now because I'm not going to edit this. And it is this one. It goes, Prif ddinas Cymru ydi Caerdydd. Dydy'r ddinas ddim yn fawr fel Buenos Aires, Llundain, ond mae hi'n braf. Yma mae Amgueddfa Genedlaethol Cymru ac mae Castell Hardd yn ôl y dref. Now, I know what that means. Nobody else does. And my apologies, my sincere apologies to all Welsh people watching this for ruining your language. But it just is bizarre that I can remember that. I can also remember the speech that we used to have to give. All actors had to do at one point as an audition piece of Shakespeare. I mean, it was de rigueur back in the day. I think it probably isn't now in the days of Hollyoaks. It probably isn't. But it was then. And I had to learn, or I didn't have to learn, but I did learn the Over the Rogan Peasant Slave I speech from Hamlet. I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know the plot. But I was sort of an age to play Hamlet. I learned that and managed. And then just recently, I went to see the new production of Oliver at the Gielgud Theatre in the West End of London. And it is the superlative production. Utterly, utterly wonderful. My hats off and congratulations to everybody involved in it. It is simply wonderful. And of course, when Fagin came on, these memories of me struggling with the lines to his songs came back. And here is in the rub, which proves, first of all, that I'm not suffering from dementia. I'm not menthol. And it proves that the memory is a strange beast. Because I could remember every single word of practically the entire part of Fagin in this play, including reviewing the situation. And I sat there probably mouthing. If he'd been able to see in the audience, he was probably looking down into row C, or wherever it was we were sitting in the middle, to see some bloke mouthing along his entire part. Perhaps I was under the impression that if I did it well enough and he felt ill, I might be able to jump up there and take over. Fat chance of that, although I would relish the part, to be honest. But I'm too bald. I'd have to wear a piece. So that is the basis behind this. It's rather strange graveyard rambling today. Memory, you know, as Elaine Page sang in Cats. I was never in that, and never likely to be. So that's about it. I'm freezing here. It's bitterly cold. I suspect you've had the sound of the wind on this recording. Not mine, I hasten to add. It's external. And I will leave you with the thoughts of Fagin and reviewing the situation in your heads. It's such a great performance. Do go and see it. And I shall see you again when I feel like it. See, all in one take. Warts and all. That's what you get here. Salute.